Li Zhangfeng is a single father raising a teenage daughter. One night the girl fails to return home after meeting a friend, and the next day her dead body is found in a river. The police determine that she was raped before her death, and when Zhangfeng gets a tip on who did it, he decides to take justice into his own hands. Although the censors don't really fond of it, Chinese filmmakers quite often look to the work of their closest neighbors from Japan and South Korea for inspiration. For example, they has already adapted works of Japanese writer Kigo Higashino more than once. 2017 saw the release of 2 films based on his books, The Devotion of Suspect X and Namiya, both of which were among the top 30 highest-grossing Chinese films of the year. Hovering Blade is not as well known as those novels, but it has been transferred to the screen more than once. In Japan itself, it was adapted as a feature film in 2009 and as a miniseries in 2021, while a South Korean film based on it called Broken appeared in 2014. The Chinese got to their version quite late, but they worked out its theme to the delight of censors. The movie is set in 2009, and before the closing credits we are treated to a series of screens with a story about how China has improved under Xi Jinping, under whom a number of laws were adopted, tightening the criminal liability of minors. These screens also detail the subsequent fate of all the characters, who broke the law in any way during the events of the movie. Spoiler: the long arm of the law reached even to random witnesses who said something unnecessary or, conversely, did not report to the police in time. Why you should watch Chinese Hovering Blade, if you have already seen the previous versions of this story, is hard to say. Yes, this is a dramaturgically strong movie, directed by a man who is working within the Chinese censorship not the first time. In parallel with Hovering Blade, director Qianyuan made another remake of a foreign hit, The Invisible Guest, eventually released earlier. He has powerful veteran actors Wang Qianyuan as an inconsolable father on the verge of breaking down, and Wang Jingchun, discreetly playing a cop who is torn between sympathy and duty. But the strength of Hovering Blade is not in its directorial finesse or acting performances, but in its inner message, where the reader or viewer finds himself in the midst of a complex and emotional dramatic collision. And in China, alas, authors have to actively cut its corners. Evil must be painted black, with no shades of gray. The law may have fists but can only be used in strictly regulated situations, and such a contrasting approach does not allow the original story to release its full potential. The authors promise an honest conversation, but go no further than a couple of questions, posed so carefully, that they no longer seem very relevant now, in 2024. The kind of case where the authors did their best, but they didn't stand a chance in the first place.